Hey guys, it's Dave again from GuitarBreakdown.com, and today I'm going to talk to you about a Tom Quayle lick. It's one of his legato technique kind of licks that one of my students actually really recently brought to me to transcribe for him, and I definitely do not have it up to the same speed that he does. I also don't really use that kind of saturated tone that he is using on this pedal, so I don't play very well through a lot of saturation. So I actually dialed it down for this lesson, but the demonstration lick that I showed before this was as saturated as I can get with my pedal system. And it definitely did not sound as cool as the way he played it. But anyway, it got the idea across, and I will break it down and show you how to play it, and maybe you could make it sound a lot better than I did. Basically, if you click the link below, it'll bring you to a video where he is demoing a Boss pedal, and he ends up halfway through, I think it is. I don't know. I'll put the time down there. But at one point, he plays this really kind of fast legato lick, and it incorporates, like most of his legato licks do, arpeggios, and I'll go through that and show you. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll show you the lick. So this whole lick that he does, this legato kind of run, can be thought of either over A minor or C major. I look at it as A minor, based off of the A minor pentatonic. But when it ends, it lands on a C note, and it sounds like it resolves more than just being the minor third. It sounds like it's landing on that root note. So it could be C major, the way he's playing. Anyway, so if you think of the A minor pentatonic scale, the one everybody knows, it's basically on the G string, 7th fret, 8th fret, 7, 8, back to 7, 8. So, and that's just picking one note, hammering, pulling off, and hammering on the rest. So, then he goes to the 6th fret of the B string, and he actually plays the 5th fret of the B string because he has his guitar tuned E, A, D, G, G, A, B, C, D, F. E, A, D, G, D, F. He has it completely in fourths, where standard tuning E, A, D, G, B, E. So you got to kind of make some different shift. And so when he plays some of these runs, he's doing different fingering, but if you keep it in standard tuning, this is how it goes. So again, it's that run on the G string, and the 6th fret of the B string, and then he just goes back down that 8, 7, 5 of the G string. So then he just he goes to the 7th fret of the D string. Then he bounces back onto the 7th fret of the G string, so just bars that with the 3rd finger. Goes back down to the 7th fret of the D string, so, and then the 5th fret of the G string. So the whole thing so far is. Then he goes, when he bounces back to that 7th fret of the D string, he goes to the 5th fret, 6, 7, a good little chromatic walk up on the D string. So and this is where he starts introducing those arpeggios. So that was all, you know, scalular, legato, hammering on and pulling off. And this is where he just runs down an arpeggio from the, after he walks up chromatically, he goes to the G string, 5th fret, D string, 7th fret, A string, 8th fret down to the 5th fret of the A string. So then he walks up a scale from that 5th fret, 7th fret to 8th fret of the A string. So, and then he does that same pattern but on one string below. So it's the 5th fret of the D string, 7th fret of the A string, 8th fret of the E string, back down to the 5th fret of the E string. So that whole pattern is, the whole thing together is. And that's the cool thing. That's where he's, again, if you're thinking this pentatonic scale, if you're actually thinking a minor scale, you can find arpeggios everywhere. And he's just throwing those arpeggios in between legato sections. Again, here he is, all legato. Then he does kind of like a pentatonic-y, bluesy thing. And he walks up scalular, chromatic, then he throws in those arpeggios. Then he does a legato scale run to get him back to this next arpeggio. And then he just goes down there. And again, if you examine these arpeggios, it could be a D minor 7 arpeggio. It could be an A minor 7 arpeggio. So anyway, after that, he does a pretty big stretch here from the 5th fret to the 10th fret of the A string, or I'm sorry, the E string. Then he does the 7th fret on the A string, 5th fret on the D string, and 10th fret on the D string. So it's 5, 10 on this string, skip a string, 5, 10 on the D string, and he's putting that 7th fret in between the two. So that's a cool little arpeggio, and it's based out of the pentatonic scale. It doesn't look that way, but if you think of it, this to this is a 4th. In the pentatonic scale, you have 1, 3, 4. So it's, then that 7th fret is in that pentatonic scale here, and then these two notes, again, that's in that pentatonic scale there. But this note that he stretches to is right below it on the G string. So you can play this same lick doing this, or you can do it this way. And that's your pentatonic scale, leaving out that second note and leaving out that note. So he runs up that and pulls back off. And again, he hammers on the first two notes from the 5 to 7 on the E string, sweep picks down the 7 on the D string, continues to sweep pick down to the 5th fret on the, I'm sorry, that was the A string 7th fret, to the D string on the 5th fret, and then, and I think he picks that, he up picks that 10th fret of the D string and then pulls off. So, and then, so he pulls off from 10 to 5 on that D string, slides up to the 7th fret of the D string. Then he does a slick little thing here where he goes, and he does just a quick, and that slide from the 10 to the 11, he goes, but you barely hear it, it's so quick. That note right there is so cool because, again, you're playing all this straight pentatonic scale, and then he introduces that minor third to the major third. It's just a cool little slate, because again, he could have just ran up this, but instead he threw in that little minor to major third thing, which is really bluesy, and it's just a cool little thing to do.